Part 3 Final ending of the retention department. Other parts down below. I don't think she will be doing any apologizing. She begged and apologized off and on for the past year after I left and filed. She finally is acting like she has come to terms. She does still buy me Christmas gifts and birthday gifts though, even though I completely ignore them. Maybe if, when her and other man split up, she will be bothering me again. Also, my depression is acting up again lately. I felt fine all week until today, which is when I have to take the kids back to her. It's like the week I have them flies by and then they have to leave. And they say they want to stay with me forever and hate her house, and that makes me feel worse. But oh well, it usually passes in a day or two. WW has been super friendly and nice for the past couple months. It's a nice change from her constant cycling through anger and begging to get back together the past year. She seems to have accepted the divorce and that I am never getting back together with her. Now she kind of acts like everything is good in the world and she wanted a divorce all along and we are just two good friends deciding not to live together anymore. Of course, that's not how I see it. Last weekend the kids had an overnight indoor camping trip with a bunch of other families, and both me and WW were there. Me and the kids slept on the floor and WW slept on a mattress. After laying down to go to sleep, WW said I could sleep on the mattress with her if I wanted, so I wouldn't have to sleep on the floor. I declined by simply saying I'm alright. And then a couple days later when she came to get the kids from me for her week, they threw a fit wanting to stay with me and not go to her house. Normally she would have got angry and taken it out on me, but she just laughed and shrugged it off. It's great if she can continue to act this way, but it kind of worries me that it may be a trick or temporary or something. It seems like maybe she is on antidepressants or something. I've been thinking the past couple days that I am jealous of BS's without kids. It would be so nice to be able to completely block her out of my life, but I can't because of the kids. Also, I've been wondering why the first 8 or 9 months since I separate, I was constantly dating and looking for a girl to spend time with, and now for the past 6 months or so, I have had no interest at all in dating. It seems that I was happier when I was dating, but now I just don't feel like it. I'm just afraid if I wait too much longer to start back dating, I may never have a good relationship. Custody will be the same over the summer. I'll have a week on and a week off. Most of the girls I dated so far have been much better than the ex in every way. I thought the first one I dated post-D was very nice, but then when number 2 and 3 were exactly the same I realized they are just normal and WW was just selfish from the very beginning. But that seems crazy how they are generally nicer when things are going good with other men. I believe it, but how can it be that good if you are trying to get your ex-husband to share a bed with you? I don't think I would want to date someone who offers to let her ex-husband share a bed with her at a campout. I don't see how a relationship like that can ever be good. Update: since I separated from my ex WW about 18 months ago, I've only been talking to her if it involves the kids. She has gotten better in the past few months by not messaging me begging to get back together or wanting to talk about our marriage. I've gotten her trained to the point where she only texts to tell me of an upcoming appointment or event for the kids, or to see what time we will be swapping the kids. But she still has to throw in a little extra. For instance, yesterday I texted to see if she wanted the kids an extra night or if she wanted my mom to get them since I had to work that night. She said either one was fine or I said okay. And then she followed up by sending a text saying she brought the kids to the lake and sent a pic of them swimming. Same thing today when she texted to say she dropped the kids off to my mom. I said okay, and then she followed that by saying she took them to the water park today and sent another pic of them at the water park. I always ignore these little extra texts she sends, since it isn't important info that I need to know and I don't want to respond and give her an opening to make conversation. Is that wrong? My mom says I should communicate better, to keep her from going to the judge and saying I'm not co-parenting very well. But I've told her countless times to only text me if it is important regarding the kids. And I don't think it is necessary or helpful for us to share with each other what we did with the kids earlier that day. I could understand if maybe something had happened to the kids while they were at the lake or water park, like an insect sting or something that I need to monitor. But I don't think I need to see her bragging about how great a mother she is for finally bringing the kids to do something fun. XW has been bringing the kids around OM for a month or so now, even though it is against the stipulations of our separation until the divorce is final. I haven't worried about it since the divorce is about to be final anyway. But earlier today my 4-year-old son, while we happened to see a part of a movie where a guy licks the side of a lady's face and across her mouth, he responded, "That's what Mama's boyfriend does to me." But he was laughing about it like it was a game. So later I sent XWW a message describing that to her and said to keep him away from the kids or I am filing to hold her in contempt of court for going against the terms of our separation, and also that I will file a criminal complaint against him. It was late when I sent the message, so she probably hasn't read it yet. But I doubt there is much I can do criminally since the piece of crap is a cop and they will say I am just being a jealous husband or trying to get revenge. But I don't think a grown man should be putting his lounge on my kid's face, and I don't want my son to accept that as normal and then it progresses more and more over time. Also, I messaged XW before all that to say since the kids are out of school, on the days I am off work during the week, I would like to get the kids and keep them instead of daycare keeping them. And then I will return them to their mom when she gets off work. So, nothing would change for her, just the kids would be with me instead of at daycare for 1 or 2 days during her weeks of custody. But she said no because the kids already hate going to her house and she doesn't want them to spend more time having fun with me and make them want to visit her even less. The guy, well, I wouldn't classify him as a random guy, they have been in a long-term affair off and on. She responded this morning to my messages saying it wasn't that big of a deal and they were just playing and wrestling around. I texted back that it is inappropriate and to keep them away from him. One good thing to come out of it is that she was angry, so she called her lawyer and paid to finalize the divorce. I called my lawyer to pay today, and they said I didn't need to because she had paid for it with her lawyer. So that saved me $600. She messaged that it would be great if I could pay half of it. I wish I had responded, well, I had to pay $600 for paternity tests, so we can call it even. I don't really talk to my lady friend anymore. I never was interested in dating so soon, and I think she was. Because of the stuff with my kid, now I am feeling some of the things I was feeling after D-Day. Instead of before it was all about my wife, now it's about my kids. WW message today out of the blue, do you hate me? I just ignored until later when I messaged her to say make sure other man's behavior is appropriate with the kids, like the lawyer suggested. And she said I was ridiculous and all that. And then went into a long rant about how she knows the affair was a mistake and she would take it back if she could and she is sorry she is still friends with other man. And then transitioned into a bunch of anger over me getting ready to buy a house and all kind of random stuff. I replied that I am not discussing any of that and going to bed. But she is still messaging as I type this, basically saying she isn't a bad parent and the kids are just mistaken that I spend more time giving attention to them than her. One thing I've noticed since D-Day though, she always refers to other man as a friend. I guess it makes it seem less bad in her mind. The children are 4 and 7, both boys. I wonder why there are a lot of WWs having affairs with cops where you live. Around where I live, most of the normal girls don't have any desire for cops. According to her, the licking on the face was while wrestling around because my kid did it first, so he did it back. But still, I wouldn't put my mouth nowhere near a kid that isn't mine, even to kiss on the cheek. According to the lawyer, I can't do anything at this point but text or email her to ensure other man is appropriate with the kids. He said if I suspect they have been sexually assaulted, then we will meet and discuss a plan. So basically, I have to let things die down for a while, and then a year from now when things get worse, I can try to do something then. XWW texted me as soon as she woke up this morning, to make sure the kids don't call my mom mama. Because on Skype last night, my youngest did that thinking it was funny. I ignored her all day until she asked some stuff she needed for the kids' dental insurance. And then I had to get some info from her that I need for a mortgage. But she was being nice all the rest of the evening. I want to keep messaging and bugging her to get to the bottom of the behavior with OM because I am certain if something worse did happen, she would try to hide it and rationalize that it was a one-time thing or something like that. But I don't think I will accomplish much other than aggravate her, which is kind of fun to me. What do you think? Keep questioning her or just wait and talk to the kids in a few days when I get them? By the way, if everything goes through with this house, I will be right next to my kids' school and daycare, but unfortunately, I will also only be about 3 miles from XWW. And I will be alone, without my mom and dad to deter her from showing up at the doorstep. I think I will put a hidden camera and mic at the front door. I picked up the kids today to start my week of custody, and in the car ride home, my 7-year-old starts talking about how other man yelled at him for scratching his car with a rock and that he doesn't want to stay at mama's anymore because of other man coming over there. He also said other man pinches him and his brother in the butt and it hurts. I messaged WW later to tell her this, and she immediately started messaging back denying it and wanting to FaceTime the kids. I just ignored because there was no point in arguing. Next thing I know, she is at my parents' house and comes into the room with me and the kids saying we need to discuss this. Then, in a stressed and angry tone, she starts questioning the kids, asking them about everything they told me. They answer her back, and she redirects their answers by saying, was it really like this way instead? Or are you afraid of OM or do you think he tries to protect you? She had also messaged me saying she told OM to yell at him for scratching the car. And she threatened me with all sorts of things if I try to get OM in trouble with his job. He is a cop. I could tell the kids were answering their mom with what they knew she wanted them to say, because they were afraid they would be in trouble. She wasn't questioning them as a concerned parent, but more like telling them they are wrong and other man isn't bad and trying to minimize and tell them what they feel instead of listening and figuring out why they would say that. A year later, things have been going well the past year or so. Got a new, good-paying job and a new house. I have been taking a break from dating for the past year, but I'm starting to get bored now. XWW hasn't been communicating with me much this past year either. 99% of her communication has been about the kids, with the occasional personal question that I just ignore. Yesterday, first thing in the morning, she texted to say her and her AP got engaged. Said she wanted to tell me before hearing from someone else. I just told her that has nothing to do with me, and she said she was letting me know because of the kids, and I said I would handle any issues with them when they happen. Kids are 5 and 8, so they don't really understand much. I told the 8-year-old when we first separated that Mama had a boyfriend and wasn't supposed to, and that's why we were splitting up. Nothing ever happened with the yelling and licking and all that. Nothing has happened since then that I know of. The kids still hate going to their moms though, but they never mention the AP. They say it's because she is mean and won't play with them and all that. I think she just ignores them pretty much. The oldest actually asked me if we could get CPS. He knows who they are because a neighbor called them on my ex once before for not watching the kids while playing outside and tell them that mom is mean so they can come stay with me permanently. He said it as a joke, but only because he knows that's not something he should want. I recently just started back exercising and taking care of myself, and it has made a big difference. I'm still not back to where I was a year ago when I felt awesome, but I should be soon. I was thinking about going back to do MMA after I did it for a year or so a while back. But other than that, I don't have any hobbies or social circles. I have work friends invite me to drink beer occasionally, but I don't want to pick up that habit. The neighbor that called CPS on XWW is apparently an alcoholic and is one of those people that stay home and stare out the window all day looking for something to get angry about. I had to go in the middle of our separation and meet with CPS to keep them from taking the kids from XWW. I texted her yesterday evening about getting the kids the following day, even though it's her week with them, since they will be at her mom's but I'll be off of work. Normally she responds to every text within seconds. Last night she ignored me for several hours and finally responded angrily and arguing with me. I just played it cool and then she finally did a 180 and calmed down and began to work with me. She is probably mad that I didn't respond jealously to her engagement a couple days ago. But anyway, her attitude reminded me of her anger and yelling during the marriage and affair and how miserable she is. I often wondered if he knew she was chasing me. I think they fight a lot, at least they did during the affair, constantly. Maybe that's part of the reason why. I can handle a couple of beers occasionally, but I have to be careful because I'll make it a habit and blow my diet and start eating a bunch of junk and skipping the gym. The CPS thing was a fluke. I could have gone along with it and tried to hopefully wake her up some, but I would have been lying. She's a below-average mother and is selfish even when it comes to the kids, but I don't think it's bad enough for CPS to be involved. Kids just got here and said, guess what? Mama is getting married. I asked them if they wanted a guy and 2 girl kids living there and they said no, of course. But they actually seemed kind of excited as far as I can tell. I asked them where they were going to sleep and they said they were going to get bunk beds in their room. That house is already tiny and stays junked up, so it will be miserable. The kids also say piece of crap house is terribly messy with dog fur and junk everywhere. So, I may end up having to call child services after all. The piece of crap is a loser. He lives in a rundown trailer in a trailer park and has to borrow money from people all the time from what I hear. And on top of all that, since the separation, XWW has gained a lot of weight and looks like a linebacker. To be honest, I think the dude could probably get someone better than her. Not sure why he likes her. My diet and exercise have been going good so far. It's only been a couple weeks but I'm already looking better in the mirror and feeling better. A few more weeks of this and my confidence level should be back up pretty high and I'll start dipping my toes in the dating pool. She is pretty much following the exact same life path as her mom, who has been single the last 20 years since her second husband left. The only difference is her mom didn't cheat, unless she hid it from everyone very well. Her mom is an overweight ogre with false teeth since she was about 40, but her second husband moved in with her and brought his kids and they lived in a cramped, miserable little rundown trailer, which she still lives in today. Not only is XWW following in her footsteps, but she is also starting to look more like her every day. XWW was supposed to get the kids tonight, but she texted to see if I wanted to keep them the rest of the week till next weekend. She's pretty much acting like she did after D-Day and again after the separation. She doesn't have any interest in the kids right now it seems, and she had been doing better I thought for the past year since she cut way back on trying to get back together with me. Maybe the wedding coming up has her back in the fog mentality. It's kind of aggravating. I never wanted my kids to have a mom they won't have a relationship with when they get older. I told her I would keep the kids this week since they want to stay. She said they probably do want to stay with me so they won't have to go to daycare all week while school is closed for Easter. But I told her that they haven't mentioned anything about daycare. They have been saying some bad things about their mom all weekend, like they don't like her and don't want to stay with her. Also, my niece and nephew were talking with my kids about their mom getting married, and then talking about OM because they met him a couple times at a birthday party. Niece and nephew said they don't like him because he is creepy and scary. I want to message XWW and tell her somehow that the kids don't like her and that she needs to try to build a relationship with them now before OM moves in after the wedding and the kids are miserable and begin to hate her and hate being there. But I don't want her to get the wrong idea and think I want her back or am bothered by the wedding. I probably just won't say anything. XWW just texted to see if I would have a problem with piece of crap and his daughter moving in now before the wedding in November. We have a stipulation in the divorce that says neither of us can have any unmarried people from the opposite gender stay overnight with the kids there. I didn't answer her. He must be losing his trailer or something. Piece of crap and XWW don't live together yet, just because of the divorce decree forbidding it. I replied to her that she needs to follow the rules. She didn't argue or anything, but just immediately started to talk about the kids randomly and about her car being in the shop. She probably was hoping to get me mad since I haven't said anything about the marriage. Piece of crap actually has 5 kids. 2 are in their 20s, 1 is a teen from a prior affair and lives with her mother, and the youngest 2 girls share custody with his ex-wife. They were both supposed to be moving in with XW and piece of crap. Not sure why she only mentioned one moving in today. Piece of crap doesn't have full custody of his daughters. He has them 50-50. He works shift work like me, and the days he is off, he has his youngest 2 daughters. And the way our schedules alternate, when he is off, I am working. So anytime he is with XWW, she has her kids and he has his. They only have alone time if they have a sitter. I was thinking maybe a year or 2 at most, but being that the house is tiny and overcrowded with 3 people living there, adding another 2 or 3 people will be miserable. And XWW is lazy and never cleans, and multiple people say piece of crap is just as bad. There is no storage at all in the house, and XWW is a pack rat bordering on hoarder. So, you can't even sit down without having to move stuff to the floor. I was just thinking last night that maybe since XWW has pretty much left me alone the past few months, hadn't been trying to get back together and had actually been taking the kids to do stuff, even if it's only when OM and his kids can go, and has seemed like her life was getting back on track somewhat, that maybe she would get married and be happy and turn into a decent mother. But just a few minutes ago she texted wanting to know the password for one of the games on the kids' iPads. I said I didn't know. Then she went into a long tirade about how the youngest kid is whining for the game and that she was going to throw the iPads away and that she is sick of them whining. I told her to do this little tickle game that they like, to make them forget about wanting to play the iPads. She texted back that she tried and it didn't work and that now he is mad at her. The whole scenario reminded me of what I most hated about her during the marriage. I instantly remembered all the times she had that same attitude and how aggravating it was. Keep in mind that piece of crap and his kids haven't moved in yet, so she hasn't even had to deal with the extra stress from all that yet. But like I mentioned in a previous post, it's like she is back to going through the way she acted while in the fog. I imagine me and the kids are in for an eventful year or 2 going forward. I'm not sure how long before gets kid to decide where they stay. They are 5 and 8, so I guess it will be a while still. But I can imagine them complaining more and more until she finally just gets fed up and tells them fine, just stay with your dad forever. But I think after a week or 2 she would feel bad and try to get them back. I actually did think about telling her that piece of crap could move in early, just so they would fight. Or to try and lead XWW on to have an affair with me and make piece of crap angry. Even though it would feel good to get revenge, it isn't worth the energy, plus I'm not that type of person and I would lose the moral high ground that I enjoy right now. I remember finding out later that during the affair, XWW would feel guilty and try to cut piece of crap off, and remain best friends of course, and focus on her marriage and family. I've seen old texts where piece of crap would get jealous and mope around and try to guilt and manipulate her back into the affair. So, I imagine he is going to be miserable while they are married, and every time she has to talk to me about the kids or sees me at a function for the kids, and they will fight over that. Today has been the best I've felt since hearing of the marriage coming up. My exercise and diet are still going good and I'm already making good progress. I was also thinking about how the past year or so that XWW hasn't been bothering me much and has actually seemed to be turning into a halfway decent mother. Right around that time is when we adjusted our custody schedule, at my request, to fit my new job. So instead of having a week at a time with the kids, XWW has been having them only 2 or 3 days, and then I would have them 2 or 3 days. So right when she is getting sick of them after 2 days, it would be my turn to take them. But now for the next month I have to work every day straight. So, we will go back to 1 week of custody at a time and I will just see them in the evenings at my mom's house. So that could be part of why she is reverting back to angry mom, since she won't get a break from the kids for 5 more days. Forgot to say, the youngest child may have actually been 2 when she started whoring around. I remember towards the end, she would come home from work late after not seeing the babies since early that morning and walk past us without saying hello or even looking at the kids and go straight to take a bath for an hour or so. That used to make me hate her more than anything. But being naive, I thought it was postpartum depression or something of that nature because I was certain she could never cheat. During the beginnings of the affair, piece of crap actually left his wife and was wanting XWW to join him, but she kept stalling and refusing, and of course that made him madder. She goes through phases where she cares for the kids a little and then back to being aggravated with them. And I have turned more to Jesus lately. I've always been a Christian, but my faith always gets stronger when I am going through bad times. Piece of crap and his ex were already having trouble when he left. I think she had a revenge affair after piece of crap first affair, so he used XWW as a crutch to help get away from that. But I haven't verified that. That could be a lie coming from piece of crap to help justify his second affair. Also, I suppose XWW is a little better than piece of crap X maybe. XWW is 8 years younger, but their looks are pretty much equal. Other than that, piece of crap X seems like a better woman and better mother. I have spoken to piece of crap X. I exposed the affair to her originally and we talked occasionally, and I learned a lot about piece of crap and XWW from her. I had sent her some screenshots of XWW begging me to come home after the separation and try to fix the marriage. She asked if she could show that to piece of crap, but I told her no at the time because we were still working on custody for the kids and I didn't want to jeopardize that. But I haven't talked to piece of crap X in about 6 months or more. I did see a couple days ago on Facebook that she took a picture with some guy that looked like a boyfriend, but her status still says single. Maybe that was the catalyst making piece of crap want to get married, to get back at his ex since she is dating. I don't know though. So, I called piece of crap X to talk to her. Didn't realize it had been almost a year to the day since I spoke to her last. Anyway, she said she is engaged. And the funny part is, right after she got engaged, a few days later is when XWW and piece of crap got engaged. I wonder if the two engagements are related. She also said that piece of crap moved back in with his mom several months ago and couldn't afford the trailer any longer. She said he never has any money. So, I guess part of the engagement for him is to make his ex mad and also to move out of his mom's house. Also, he has 3 of the kids living with him. 21-year-old, 15 and 10 or so. So, it sounds like there will be 7 people living in XWW's cramped house. And she said XWW will have to bring youngest daughter to school in the mornings, which is out of her way to work. And it's a different school than my kids go to. XWW texted asking for money for the kids' summer camp, but she still owed me for some of their medical bills, so I told her to subtract it from that. Now today she texted a bunch saying she isn't trying to be a bee about the money and if she is coming across that way, that's not her intention. I told her that I will pay half of the kids' stuff when they have expenses, but the rest of her money troubles are not my concern. Then she was complaining about me telling her yesterday to deduct the money from her debt to me, because she said she can't afford all that at once like I can. She said it's not nice for me to throw it in her face about owing me money. But then she kind of started trying to act civil and normal, so I said, I didn't throw anything in your face when I had to pay for paternity tests and STD tests and lawyer fees. She sent back a bunch of stuff about how those tests and lawyer fees don't count because that is something I wanted to get, and I should have just believed her that the kids were mine. And she also said she isn't going to try to help remind me of the kids' events upcoming and stuff like that anymore. It's funny because she has already texted to remind me of the kids' camp schedule, after saying 2 hours earlier that she was done reminding me of their stuff. She's crazy, I think. No one goes from angry to normal that fast. Maybe I will talk to her this evening. But I did think about dating her before or at least working together to get the exes mad. But she is 3 years older than me and I don't want to get feelings for her and then still have to deal with piece of crap even more. Yesterday evening I went to pick up the kids from XWW house, and piece of crap vehicle was parked there. That was the first time he had ever been there while I was supposed to be coming. XWW was in the yard with the kids trying to rush them into my car. So, I asked where piece of crap was and she said none of my business. So, I went and opened the door to the house and he was sitting on the couch. I told him that if I hear anything else about him licking my kids, look at the post around 1 year ago if you forgot all of that, or if he touches them, we are going to have a problem. So, he comes outside and I says that that's not true and I said that he is calling either me or the kid a liar, and he kind of didn't know what to say and was acting like he was scared to death. Well, then XWW came and stood between us and said I needed to leave, and I kind of started at them about 5 seconds and smirked and walked off. So of course, I got a bunch of texts from XWW last night complaining, and I told her that if I hear any more complain from the kids about him yelling at them or licking them or touching him that I will be right back to put a stop to it. She said I'm just mad at piece of crap because the affair. And I said no, I'm glad because my life is 100% better now. She complained some more and I told her I wasn't arguing anymore. Then today she sent a bunch of mean texts threatening to bring me to court to keep the kids from me. She has said that 100 times before, and complaining that I never cared for her when we were married, and that my life is only better because I improved due to her affair. I told her to leave me alone and she got madder and more, said they are going to get married next week now instead of at the end of the year or whenever it is actually planned. I started to say that basically she is threatening to marry a coward piece of crap and destroy her life just to spite me. But I just ignored it. She was also mad because the kids told her I had a date tonight, because she brought that up. But it felt good to confront piece of crap and see him scared to death and acting like a little baby. The first time I tried to confront him way back after D-Day, he hid from me and sent his sister out to say he wasn't there, but I saw him when I pulled up the driveway. But it was very hard not to physically assault him this time. I came close and almost lost control. But I feel pretty good now that I got all that out my system. If I met her for the first time now, I would never date her. I feel like I set the tone where if he does do anything to the kids or try to fuss at them or spank them, he will think twice about it and the kids will tell me. Update: today is XWW and piece of crap wedding day. So that's probably what brought me here. I'm a little sad, just because it brings up all the old thoughts of the affair. But other than today, I haven't thought of any of this stuff in a long time. Anyway, I've been dating this great girl for about 5 months or so now. We've talked about getting married and maybe having another kid. Everything is great, but I feel like I'm always trying to catch her in a lie. I guess because of the trauma from the affair. She seems to think I'm the greatest man to ever live, besides Jesus, but I feel like I still can't trust completely and worry she is lying. I don't worry about her cheating, since she doesn't have male friends and doesn't go out with friends or anything like that. And she shares all of my same views on marriage and divorce and infidelity. But I can't help but worry that she lies. I would imagine this is fairly common after infidelity, or am I just crazy? I've been to be counseling a couple years ago. Only about 2 sessions, but I didn't like the counselor and never found a new one. I don't berate my girlfriend, but I do obsess over things in my mind, especially if she does or says something that has anything in common with XWW. I immediately start thinking, oh well, I guess she will be a cheater like XWW. My comment: once burned, twice shy. It takes time for trust to return. But you are still not trusting your own instincts. If not an IC, get one. Comparing your GF to X is not unexpected, but jumping to she is cheating because of a random comment, without any evidence at all, is a little overboard. If you see a possible future with this girl,